So over here, guys, we are going to first of all spend our time on Linux, and then we will start with the Terraform. Okay. And we'll make sure that by the end of the sessions, you are aware that how to create Linux script and how to create the Terraform scripts. It is all about coding. In Linux, it's all about commands and coding. And in Terraform as well, you create files to do certain automation. Now, surprisingly, Linux and Terraform both are used for certain level of automation. So you do automation with the help of Linux and Terraform. If I try to be a little precise, Linux scripting is actually used for automation. Okay. So Linux scripting is also used for automation, and Terraform is also used for automation. When we will start with each and every topic, let's say we are starting with Linux or we are starting with Terraform, I will certainly tell you that where this automation is applicable. It's not like that you have a car and car is autonomous, so it's because of Linux. No, Linux has its own applicability, that where can you apply automation with the help of Linux scripting, and Terraform has its own applicability, that where can you apply Terraform for the automation. Okay, and that's what we have to understand like by learning Linux and Terraform. Now coming to Linux, first of all, we have to understand that what is this Linux? Why this Linux is actually a very important parameter when you are searching for a job. Right now, when you start searching for a job for AWS or maybe for Azure architect, you are searching job for DevOps engineer, there is one common thing which you will find, that is Linux. Linux is something which is very, very common across everywhere. I mean, if you go in any organization, you will find Linux admins. If you apply for cloud architect roles, you will find Linux. If you go for your DevOps engineer role, you will find Linux. Linux is very important. Now, why does Linux, why is it so important? That is what we have to understand. Okay. So first of all, I would like to tell every one of you, maybe if you guys have attended my webinar last week, I have already discussed about Linux, but I want to give a very quick recap on it so that you understand from scratch what is Linux. So you have to understand first thing that Linux is nothing but the operating system. It is the operating system. Now what happens that when you have a components, right? When you have let's imagine that you have a laptop. Okay. Now the complete computer system is actually divided into three parts. Okay. Any computer, whether it is your smartphone, whether it is your tablet, iPad, MacBook, your desktop, any type of computer is broadly divided into three parts. First one is hardware. Second one is operating system. And third one is software. So all the computers are divided into three parts: hardware, operating system, and software. Now, when you say CPU, CPU is hardware. Okay. When you say operating system, again, it comes to operating system. When you say RAM, it comes under hardware. Okay. When you say Zoom application, so what do you think, where does it fall? You have Google Chrome. What do you think, guys? Hardware under software. So now I tell you one thing, guys. Basically, what happens that you understand what is hardware, because the thing which you can see and touch, that is hardware. So if you open your laptop, you will find some components that you can touch. That is hardware. Software is like the internal application. So you know what is software. You can touch your applications. I mean, not touch. I mean, you can just see your application. You can open applications. You can use your application. So right now, are you guys using any application to connect with in the meeting right now? Can you touch that application? So that comes under hardware, software. Okay. So in my opinion, as you guys are super good, super technical guys, I know you guys know that what is hardware and what is software. But now you have to understand what is operating system. See, you might know, like you might have studied few documents and you might have some operating system, but today we will simplify it and we'll try to understand what is operating system. Okay, why do we need it? Now, when we were talking about hardware, we understood that in our laptop, we have a RAM, we have a CPU, we have a processor. CPU and processor is one and the same thing. Then you have hard disk. Okay, so you have this hardware which you can touch. And also you understand that there are applications like Zoom, or Google Chrome, um, Microsoft Word, Excel. All these are the applications which you use in your day-to-day life. Okay. Now Zoom, Google Chrome, and all these applications. So this is your software components and this is your hardware components. Okay. Now, understand one thing, guys, that when an application run or when a software run, it needs the help of hardware. Any application cannot run without hardware. Okay. Let's imagine that this application wants to run. So it will consume some RAM, it will consume some processor, it will consume some hard disk. All the applications, when you run the application, it consumes some memory, some processor speed, it consumes these hardware. Now, always understand that software are not capable to talk to hardware directly. Let's imagine if you click on Zoom and you want to open Zoom, your Zoom cannot run. Okay, your Zoom cannot run directly. First, it has to allocate some space in the hardware. When the space is allocated, only then your Zoom is finally launched. So when it opens up, let's imagine if I go, let me show you. If I go to apps, yeah. Do you see some applications on my screen right now, everyone? Yeah. Let's imagine that I want to open WhatsApp. Okay. When I'm opening WhatsApp, you see this WhatsApp is taking time to open. Do you see this? You know why it is taking time to open? Because it is allocating, it is allocating the space in the RAM. It is letting the RAM know that I am opening, please have the enough space. It talks to processor, hey, I am trying to open something, please try to be comfortable with me. So your application always try to talk to your hardware. Okay, but now I told you one thing, that software are not capable to talk to hardware directly. That is not at all possible, because software knows what operation they have to do. Like WhatsApp can be used for messaging purpose. So WhatsApp can do only messaging, but it does not know how to talk to RAM and hardware. It does not know anything about it. So what happened? That is why we need the operating system in between. Okay. So operating system is a very, is a very jolly, it's actually a very good nature, it's very friendly. So operating system is very friendly. It's a friend of software and it is a friend of hardware. So if software wants to talk to hardware, software talks to operating system and then operating system talks to hardware. If hardware wants to talk to software, then operating system facilitates this communication between software and hardware. So you know what happened? When we launched our WhatsApp application told Mac operating system that I want 1 gigabyte of space in the memory. Can you allocate it? Operating system went to hardware and get the space for it. So operating system is the medium where software and hardware can communicate with each other. Does this make sense, everyone? Now, what we understand now, that there is a layer of software, and there is a layer of operating system. And what is a layer which exists down below the operating system? Can anyone tell me, please? So now you guys have operating system, software, and hardware. Okay. Now let's understand operating system in more detail. There is a purpose of operating system. Okay. First purpose of operating system is to allocate resources. Okay, let me ask you this question, everyone. Operating system allocates resources for whom? So it does for software. Resources are hardware. Okay. I mean, resources are always something which is tangible, right? So allocates resources for software. So operating system allocates resources for software. Now let's imagine that your hardware is completely occupied. Okay. It is like completely neck to neck. Everything is blocked. Operating system does all the management, task management. Okay. It does task management. Let's imagine that you open so many applications or software in your laptop. What happens? Your laptop gets slow. But have you noticed that it gets slow, but if you have opened something, it will open up after 10 seconds or 20 seconds, but it will still open up. It happens because operating system does this task management, that okay, user has opened this application first, after that it has opened this application, after that it has opened this application. So it creates the proper queue mechanism, and with the help of that, operating system keep allocating the resources as soon as hardware gets free. So some space is getting free, so operating system does all the task management. Okay, so you have to understand that operating system is actually very important, not from a from a perspective of hardware and software, but it is actually playing a very important role. If you do not have operating system, you can never imagine to have any computer. Okay, so having, if you say what makes the whole computer, software, operating system and hardware, when you combine everything together, that actually makes the computer. Okay, so uh, now you can imagine that uh, it's actually a facility, like you book Uber. Okay, now when you look at the Uber business, right, it's about the users, the customers who require the cab facilities, and there are cabs, I mean drivers. Okay, there are many drivers with Ubers. You have like a lot of drivers who have registered, and Uber facilitates everything in between. So you have a Uber application, it takes a request from user and allocates one of the driver. Exactly the same thing is happening in the computer. So in the computer, you have software, operating system, and hardware. I know that I might be repeating few things, but I just want to make sure that you do not forget this, because this is going to be a very important role. And also, I do not know that how many of you have computer science degree, but as per my experience, I have studied like computer science, I think thrice, more than 2 or 3 times I went through computer science, master's, my diploma and my bachelor's. Uh, but what I understood, right, and I always understood one thing, that operating system was actually a main player uh, in computer science, because it is in the computer science, it's all about operating system, that how it actually make use of hardware and it makes use of software. So operating system actually plays a very important role. Okay, so this was a brief introduction about operating system. Why? Because now when we will discuss about Linux, we will understand everything.
Thank you for watching. Switch from non-IT to IT today. Explore www.thinkcloudly.com.